By the infinite grace, love, and compassion of Bhagwan Baba, I'm very honored and humbled to join all of you in this amazing experience of service in this national retreat led by Brother Shiva Paturi, National Service Coordinator. Thank you so much for inviting me. Although it is wee hours in the morning, but nevertheless, it is never a more opportune moment, especially whenever you want to speak about Swami or talk about Bhagavan and talk about in the amazing, incredible steps that he has given, keys that he has given for us. So what I'm going to speak about to all of you is this art and science of volunteering social service as a way for the path to oneness. So if you want to achieve oneness, then this is the path. In fact, Bhagavan said in one discourse, Swami said, selfless service is the first step towards spirituality. First step, selfless service, because there's other things you can do, but this is the basis of it. Why? Because for me to live in this world, the mind must always get fascinated by the world, and then the mind must get attached to the world, and then the mind must continuously be fed with the desires. So this is the FAD, the one that keeps us in this jail. And that is why that keeps us going. So if I want to reduce the I and the my, so that I can achieve this homogeneous oneness, there's only one way. I must get slowly reduce the intensity of the I and the my. And that can only come if the I and the my can get diluted in providing the path of service, or providing help, providing service to all others. These two things becomes lesser and lesser. And as a result, we merge into the ocean. The river goes into the ocean. So there is this good service and godly service. So what's the difference? There are thousands of other NGOs who was also doing service. But that service can be good service. Like, for example, if there's a flood, then we go and give, or there's food that we need to give. All these things, visiting homes and so on, all these are very good service. What is the difference in that service and the Sai service? So there's two things. One is the fact that whenever we go and give some help to others, our purpose is objective accomplishment. That means we must go and give that food to the other individual. But in the same process, whilst we are giving the food, what is the subjective transformation that takes place? So other than objective accomplishment, which is good service, godly service is that in the process, I also must get transformed. This is the difference. The reason being, going back to the objective, the I and the my must get continuously diluted and completely eliminated so that the river, flowing river, can merge back into the ocean. In the process of the godly service, Swami also added another dimension to the whole thing, is that when you're going to the hospital to visit someone, or when you go to the lepers, or when you go to the old folks home, whenever you go to these places and when you serve, the most important thing is that who do you serve? Then Swami said, do you see a patient there? No, you must see Bhagavan in that individual. Wow, watch this. It's amazing. Wow, I just cannot serve a patient. I must be able to see the Lord in that patient. And then who is giving this service? It's you? No, the Swami in you must give the Swami in him. See, look at the level of the consciousness that he speaks about in order for us to make sure that we are able to attain that oneness. So this spirit of it must be retained, and to cultivate that is this orientation program of all the service. Number three, the moment we have already done this today, when in the morning those activities were there, this idea, it is not that now many people, what they do is that they compartmentalize. Oh, this is a spiritual activity, this is service activity. No, then what we should do is, now comes the most important part. to infuse that spirit of this whole approach in our day-to-day activities, in our worldly activities, in our office activities, in our family activities, to infuse that. Because the I and the my program, reduction of that, this experience is merely a orientation program. The orientation program must get instilled, and finally it becomes an integral part of a lifestyle, by which tomorrow when you go to work, you are continuously working there, but now your eyes is not on the recognition. Eyes is not on whether you are seen. Eyes is not on the recommendation or the so-called salary or the rewards and all that. We are just doing it because just as today what you did, and full of joy and happiness, it is the same spirit that we must do in the workplace, so that the same spirit of selflessness is exerted in that workplace, so that the karma can automatically transform to karma yoga. So that is the idea. So when your whole life is like that, then what happens? Everything, oh, these are my children. So instead of saying that, oh, these are divine children that I'm blessed, given to me, so that I can be looking after these children for him. This is not my house. This is divine. This is God's house. I am looking after for him. He has allowed me to live in this house. You see, my entire approach is different now. I'm now slowly, see, we don't go, this is my, there's some people will go into the center, my center and my center and my, see, the whole idea of the center is to destroy the mind, and yet we are attached to the center. No, I don't go there because I'm here and so on. So we find that there is a greater homogeneity, and that is exactly what the definition of your theme is: pathway to oneness, a path to oneness. What is the advantage of having that oneness? The whole purpose of knowledge is to experience Advaita. That's the idea. So it's all going back to the one ocean, where the ocean does not recognize the name of the river, nor does it recognize the title of where you come from. It's just an extreme sense of homogeneity. So the greater and greater heterogeneity that we are having, it is denoting how far we are from the highest spiritual ideal. So as we go through, the concepts, the ideology and all these things just drops off. We are experiencing the oneness of love, the oneness of truth, the oneness of peace. All these dimensions of that oneness we will be actually experiencing. If you do not believe, it's interesting. I had some experiences, especially 2 or 3 times this has happened. Elderly people on the verge of their death, on the verge of passing away. I had this opportunity to visit them. So I find that the eyes have no more fascination for the world. And even in engagement with everything, they're not interested anymore. The life has actually withdrawn. The withdrawn state in which finally, because physically to live in this world, you need the energy. And they find that everything has been withdrawn. So in that withdrawn state, the fascination for the world disappears. Attachment to many things also disappears. So literally, we need not wait for that moment to experience these things. While experiencing these things in itself in today's world, we will be attaining, what is that? Attaining what? Samadhi. So samadhi is not a state to be attained after death. It should be attained while living. Samadhi comes from samabuddhi, which means everywhere in this world, I stay equal distant with everything. See, samaduram, that means I'm staying same distance with everything. So to attain that kind of equilibrium is the experience that you have been experiencing today. Otherwise, we will live like a very selfish life. This fellow is drowning there, and he jumps inside to save him, and then you notice he only comes out with the watch, which means how the world is today, how the world is living today is only for the fascination for the material world. This is a nice one. Don't worry, everything is great. This is a man who's blind. Don't worry, everything is great. The turkey is in the microwave, and I am feeding the baby. So this is what he's reporting. So now you can see, when we live without a higher vision of the self, work is work, work is labor. But the moment we live with a higher vision of what we have just explained just now, every single work is an opportune moment and becomes oneness. So the living with a vision is a very important concept. But the world will never allow you to live with this vision because it is extremely fascinating. It helps you to dissipate that energy, and you'll find you're getting confined and limited, and you remain jailed, which is the reason why Lord Krishna was born in the jail, and the jail door opened to implicate the human beings, or to imply to human beings that, hey, my jail door opened and I came out. But the problem is your jail door is continuously closed. So your purpose of life is to open the jail door so that we can get liberated and the river can again go back to the ocean. So it's a beautiful concept, but living with a vision. So in our, whether you believe this, the DNA of all the cells in the body can reach the sun and come back 150 times. You know that's the amount of DNA that we possess. Let me say every cell has got this much of DNA inside us, and it can, when it is placed on a pin, it can reach the sun and come back 150 times. This is how God's creation is. And this is how the DNA is, and this is what goes to the sun. We have enough brain cells that that can go right up the Twin Towers. Twin Towers is the tallest building in Malaysia. I mean, I'm not. This is not. This is a word from Malaysian tourism. The tallest ever building is not the Burj Khalifa, that is in the Dubai, but for us it will be the tallest Twin Towers. We made the building twice, so that we know that when we make one building, somebody else somewhere else will beat it. So our former prime minister made sure that we made 2 towers like that. So we'll always be the tallest Twin Towers. But anyway, the brain cells, if you have, we will, even if you make the software as high as this building, still cannot match the computing capability of our brains. So what does it imply? All this fascinated creation is meant for something to experience something far superior, far greater than what we are experiencing now. Our experience in this world is so limited and so mundane. Every day you lose 50,000 neuron cells from the cerebral cortex. That's why by the time we die, the brain is weighing lesser. So every day 50,000 neuron means every day is like $50,000 lost every day. So we need to use our brains and continuously challenge. This is what we have been created for the purposes of making sure that every component of our human system is challenged to serve humanity, to serve. Once when I was, I remember once I was having, we just finished our drama, and I broke everybody off for lunch. And I went back in the Puttaparthi. This is happening Puttaparthi during a Chinese New Year festival. So I went back to my room, and I was having lunch. Suddenly I had this amazing feeling, and I just dropped the plate and ran throughout the whole Puttaparthi and reached the backstage, Purnachandra Hall. I reached the backstage, and I'm wondering, why am I reaching there? I don't even know why I'm running. I'm not even sure what is it that is making me run here. I was just eating food, and I'm not sure why I'm suddenly in Puttaparthi at the back door, and the whole hall was completely empty. And suddenly at the back, the door opened and Bhagavan comes out. And Swami asked me, did you have your lunch? I said, Swami, I was having lunch. He said, what were you having? I said, I was eating bread. Why you're not eating rice? He asked me. So I said, no, Swami, I was eating bread. Eat rice. He told me, so I said, okay. So I said, okay, Swami. And then I followed him on the stage. He was walking around, and then he was inspecting all the props there. He was looking at the stage. He said, how you like the stage? So there was some conversation. And there was something about this conversation about display, and some conversations about life also. He asked me a few things. And then I asked him, Swami, what should I do? What research work should I do? Yeah, I know you're a scientist. I know you're working. Tell me, Swami, you tell me a project. What is it? Swami said, whatever you do, always think of humanity and serve. You'll never go wrong, Baba said. So it's amazing that this is not just for me in the science field. Whatever work you're doing, whatever way in which you are working, always think of humanity, and serve, and you'll never go wrong. So when we have such a large vision in our mind, you'll find there will be enthusiasm in our work, there will be energy while we do it, there will be devotion in what we do. And in this process, again, the river gets a chance to merge with the ocean. So service is the signature of life. When you find that ship, all the fishes in nature and everything is serving. Actually, the program that has been designed is that everybody serves everyone. Everything is serving. The trees are serving, every part of nature is serving. You find that the ecosystem is so beautiful that the big fish will eat the small fish will eat even smaller fish. So everything is kept in balance only through service. In this whole world, everything is kept in balance with the attitude of service. Birds, bees, every pollination, everything. The only two-legged, tailless, and hornless animal called humans, they are the only ones, and suddenly they became so fascinated with the world that everything has become so self-centered, and it's a result of that such self-centeredness that has resulted the mind is now becoming more and more collapsed, and we are now suffering from a big, huge disease. You know what's a disease now? We are suffering from depression and many other things. But one of the things that they are really suffering is what is called arthritis. We call it mental arthritis. The arthritis has now come, and the thinking processes is not expanding. It is completely collapsing because it is so focused on only on the self, because we went away from the program that has been put into our DNA, which is to serve. So today we are reacquainting ourselves towards service, because in Hinduism, we have this Matu Pongal. Matu Pongal means a day in which we worship the cows during on Pongal time. So this is the real reason why we worship cow, is because cow knows how to eat grass. And the grass is something, the most unwanted thing is eaten, consumed, and produce the most needed. If you talk about productivity, it's from 0 to 100%. A cow does that. From 0 to 100% is the highest expression of productivity. And right from small till the very end, the cow only knows how to give and give and give and give. So one day the cow is worshipped. They bathe the cow, decorate the cow, and the cow gives this eternal message of always learning, always living to give, always giving. So this is the most needed. Now, these are some statistics to show you. We must not think, we must come to our awareness. This is a USA statistics to show that there are already 2.4 billion, not million, billion hours people are already volunteering. This is worth, they calculated it was worth almost $343 billion to the economy. Volunteering youth all over USA, just not Sai, but everyone else outside is also volunteering. And over the years, there are more and more people volunteering, people looking for NGOs, people are looking for organizations to be part of it. That is why the Sai organization, SSSIO, must offer this in a very big way. If it is programmed, if it's organized nicely and beautifully and sent to the public, you'll find lots more people might volunteer for programs like this, because the spirit of volunteerism is ingrained in DNA. Once invoked, people might be coming more and more for these purposes. What's the advantage is that it lowers mortality rates. Those people who continue serving, death rate, they live longer, the functional ability becomes increased, and there's a lowering rate of depression, which I just mentioned. These are all studies there's so many studies. I wrote a book on this. I wrote a book on this called The Art and Science of Volunteering Social Service, and for the purposes of teaching and training professors and lecturers in the university, and we pushed for an agenda in which all students in the university must do volunteering social service. So I researched this to impress the people that this is not something that is extracurricular activity. In fact, all students in the university must be subjected towards this experience. It's paradoxical, because when you say compulsory voluntary service, so when you do like that, it's compulsory, but we made it like that. So every year since that launch, 3,500 students for the past 9 years have continued. Every year they come and do, they have to go to old folks home, they have to go and do some service program and write a report, and they have to pass that in order for them to get this mandatory certificate from. So this is initiation, and that we created a unit itself for service in the university. And these are things that we should get attached to universities and colleges and encourage them to, and then facilitate that process. I just went last week, I went and saw a Vice Chancellor, in which from a university, they invited me for some session. So I went to speak to the VC and the Vice Chancellor. I told them that we few years ago, we came here and got these students to first, like exactly like what you're doing. 2 hours, we had the theoretical session, then immediately jumped on buses, and then they went to the old folks home, and we talked about filial piety, love for parents. So the expression of that was to go and serve the old folks home. And then the following week, we had a debriefing session. Every service program, we need to have a debriefing. So what happened here? What was your experience? Okay, so what changed you? What is your perspective? So unless we spiritualize that particular activity, unless we do the debriefing, sometimes we find that that process won't take place authentically. So this is where we did it for the university students, and they were very happy. And so the VC has said, please continue doing that. So I just came back and informed the rest that we're going to go back to that university and do the same thing that you have done today with that university. So these are all research studies that are given rise to these statistics. Okay, so far I have spoken. Am I making sense? Is it something that am I too fast? Is it audible, understandable?
Silence is gold. I think it's good, going well. Thank you.
Okay. For a moment, I thought I was talking to myself.
No.
In the early morning. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No,
the other one.
Yeah, also, if you can maybe conclude, in maybe 5 minutes, that'll be for the workshops. We can go there. Thank you. Yeah.
No. So time given is another 5 minutes, is it?
Yes.
Okay. So these are all statistics that shows. All these are statistics that shows results as a lowering of depression, increasing functional ability, and the more and more you give, it gives rise. Health becomes much better. Heart levels becomes better. Mother Teresa, it was a good example of that. People, when they saw her itself, the antibody levels went up. And one of the main reasons why we do this is because we increase our endorphin levels in our body. The more and more service you do, like today, after you did and came back, the levels of endorphins have gone up. So Baba said, the act of service is not to be judged according to the cost of publicity. It may be the only offering of a cup of water in the depth of the jungle, but the need of the recipient, the mood of the person who offers this, decide whether the act is gold or lead. Fill every act of yours with love. Let no one suffer the slightest pain as a result of your thought, word, or deed. Let this be your sadhana. So in conclusion, the Sai 100, which is the Swami's 100th day program, which is going to come in 3 years' time, SSIO launched a series of 11 programs to commemorate the 100th birthday. So we got 3 years to achieve this for Baba's 100th birthday. So we don't want to just cut a cake and so on. We just want to make sure that we must do these programs for the purposes of helping service and humanity. One is that we're going to go for organizational excellence. We're going to re-look back at all the processes, succession planning stands. So there's one whole committee and team looking at this, and they have been working on it, but now they're going to be refining further to get the best practices that is happening around the world, to make sure that everybody understands that these excellent, beautiful, wonderful, excellent organizations can be given. Another one is well-being workshop, and well-being workshops are done in all major towns and cities. This is something that is so critically needed at this point of time, because well-being is something, mental well-being is something that is literally needed as a result of the collapse in the mind. In fact, WHO says there's already 1 billion people affected in this world. Then the 157 communities have already been adopted for Swami's 95th birthday. We're going to keep on strengthening this by community adoption program so that we can deepen our experience in this. Our target is by 3 years more, we're going to achieve 50,000 SSE children in the world and another 50,000 SSEHP children in the world by doing all the activities as well as establishing excellence in SSE. There's going to be seamless communication and effective communication system around the world. So this is what that is being worked out at this point of time. Then there's going to be an international media, and this media is world-class international media academy will be formed. It's already formed, but now we're going to strengthen that and make sure that that happens. Every country is encouraged to every country is encouraged to have plant 1 million trees. We're hoping millions of trees will be planted by Swami's birthday, 100th birthday, and this will definitely reduce carbon emission and help the world in that manner. We're going to have 1,000 medical camps for PrEP camps throughout the world, and this is something that also will be very good and very useful. And when I was there in USA, Shiva Paturi spoke to me about this school tuition program. And so this is a very nice idea. So we picked it up, and this is we hope that 100 more schools throughout the whole world will be adopted following this model, in which we can go to school and transform students. And then we are going to reignite the spirit of young adults throughout, so that 100% of all science centers to have active youth adults through a 6-step revival approach, which we have already discussed yesterday. Even late last night, we were having this discussion on this aspect. And of course, the 11th one is the public meeting. We're going to have public meeting, 100 public meetings throughout the whole world. So these are all 11 programs that we offered we have offered as Swami's birthday, so Swami's 100th birthday. So whilst we work like this, selflessly enjoying the whole process, by Swami's 100th birthday, all these wonderful gifts can be shared with the world. So with these few words, and thank you for this opportunity to highlight the inner significance and the path to oneness, as well as the Sai 100. Thank you, Sai.
నిస్వార్థ సేవ వలననే మానవాళి ఏకత్వాన్ని గుర్తించడానికి వీలవుతుంది.
One can recognize unity of humankind only through selfless service.